Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Mimi Hennessy, and I have the privilege of serving as your worship associate today. I am an older, actually much older, woman of Caucasian descent with brown hair and greenish eyes, of medium height, weight, and smallish build, wearing a very loose dress and a sweater. In my favorite colors of turquoise. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tangva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. With respect for the rights and wisdom of Indigenous people, we acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community and with each other, in good relationship with the Indigenous people of this land and with the land itself. Today's service is led by our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart, with music by music director Dr. Zenaida Robles and associate music director Wells Lang. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is additional seating in the entry foyer or narthex. I have three brief announcements. One, mark your calendars for the upcoming UU Climate Justice Revival. On Saturday, September 28th, between 1 and 5, members of NUUC are invited to participate in an all-ages, all-community day of reimagining intersectional climate justice. Stay tuned for more information coming in your email and on the patio. 2, chalice circles are small groups comprised of 6 to 8 church members who meet monthly to have deep discussions on faith through the exploration of church themes such as courage, creativity, and wonder. They are wonderful. This is a wonderful way to both deepen connections with other members and yourself. I cannot attest to that more. I've been a member every year and learned so much and gotten to know people so much better. So I highly recommend it, and don't wait. I talked to someone recently who went to sign up and there were no spaces. So get in there. Stop by the table to learn more about this opportunity and sign up. I think you can also sign up online. Lastly, Neighborhood Church's Truth and Reconciliation Committee is excited to be moving into the final stage of their work, which is to create an art installation in the Remembrance and Renewal Dining Room to honor the survivors of forced sterilization and neighborhood's history with eugenics. Art has an incredible ability to heal, honor, captivate viewers, and inspire hope and change. For information about submitting art for review, please find more details in the newsletter or speak with Elizabeth Erickson or Donna Perkins. More extensive announcements, as well as our order of service this morning, are available as a link in the Sunday email. Our order of service is also visible online by scanning the QR code on the back of your hymnal with your phone camera. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Welcome to this inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service.
Good morning. You'll hear us periodically introduce ourselves with a visual description, and that is to assist folks who have visual impairments. And for those of us watching online, we're glad that you're with us this morning as well. My name's the Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart. I am a femme woman in the end of her 5th decade. I think I said 4th one time. I counted wrong. My hair is silvering. I wear gold jewelry in my nose and in my ears. I am glad to be with you this morning wearing a black robe with my purple stole. It is said that one of the most vulnerable things we can do is enter a new space full of people we've never met before, whether that's a new church or a new school or a new workplace. When we make the choice to enter a circle that seems closed from the outside, when we choose to move into a new space or a new group of people, that circle becomes wider with our presence, more beautiful for its inclusivity. When we of the circle of the welcoming community, when we invite others to join us, we are making our circle wider. We put love at the center of that circle even while we expand it, making those boundaries porous, dissolving the boundaries between inside and out. We gather today, whether here in person or online or sometime in the distant future. We gather here to make our circle wider, to explore the symbols of our space as markers of our living tradition. From the front door that we came through all the way to the walls of this building, this sanctuary, we come in to explore what it means to go through the front door with our backpacks on, full of knowledge we have gathered along our journey to get here. Today, we will also commission our teachers. We will bless those backpacks, our bags, and also the baggage that we bring along. As my colleague, the Reverend Gretchen Haley, says, we gather to draw a wider circle. In a world that feeds on moral outrage, we are here to cultivate moral courage. In a time that prizes picking sides, we gather to draw a wider circle. And in a culture that teaches us to get for what we give and to ask, what's in it for me, we come here to practice generosity and to remember that we are all in this together. In the midst of life's bitterness, we choose to sing, to give thanks, to laugh together, and to be keepers of beauty, to offer a space of belonging for all who come in gladness and in pain, to resist the push to the next moment and the next, to slow down, to breathe together, to feel a part of something greater for this hour and in this space. For this space allows us to be the change that we wish to see in the world. Come, let us worship together. We center our arrival here this morning, students and teachers of the world, students and teachers of our living tradition. I invite you to center your space, center yourself. Let us breathe together for a moment, breathing deeply as a community that grows wider with intention and invitation. So let us take a moment to find ourselves here in this now.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 1 in your gray hymnal, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
Good morning. I'm Matt Vasco, Neighborhoods Director of Spiritual Exploration. It's a joy to be with you all this morning. This is the first Sunday of children and youth spiritual exploration for the new church year. And so I want to take just a moment to make sure everyone's acquainted with what's happening and where your child or youth might want to be this morning. So for preschool age children, 3 months through 4 years, we have a child care classroom that is located in room 6 of the programs building. Preschool age children are also welcome here in the Narthex, or here in the sanctuary, and there's a play area in the Narthex with some toys and a play pad. For grades TK through first grade, those children will be starting out here in the sanctuary on Sundays for a time for all ages, and then we'll sing them out to their classroom. Their class is located in room 1 of the programs building. And for classes that start out here in the sanctuary, we ask for the parents to pick up their children or youth at 11:15 a.m. That gives the teachers about a full hour once they get the kids in the classroom, and gives them a set pickup time every week so that the teachers can depend on class ending at the same time every week. Grades 2 through 5 is similar, also starts out here in the sanctuary. Sing them out to their classroom, and their classroom is room 4 of the programs building. Junior high, that's grades 6, 7, and 8, also start out here in the sanctuary, and they then get sung out to room 5 of the programs building. Everything I've mentioned so far is on the ground floor, okay? And they all start out here in the sanctuary. Preschool age kids can go straight to preschool or can start out here in the sanctuary for the story if they like. It's kind of up to the parents. Then for the older youth, that's all on the second floor of the programs building, and those classes all start out in the classroom. So that's a little bit different. Grades 8, 9, OWL, that's from 9:45 a.m. to 11:15 a.m., a 90-minute class. Those youth are already in class. They registered for that class. Parents had orientation last Sunday. That class is underway. 9th graders, sometimes 10th graders, are in Rites of Passage or ROP. That's in room 24 upstairs. If you're a 9th grader and you want to be taking ROP and you haven't talked to me about it already, you're welcome in that class, and you can bug out of here right now and head on up there. And for senior high, which is for 9th graders once they've gone through the ROP process, and 10, 11, and 12th graders, that's in room 23 from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you have any questions, come see me or one of our helpful ambassadors. I've filled them in on all of this helpful information as well. And the important thing, of course, is if you're looking for your child after service because they started out here in service and got sung out, the classrooms are all on the first floor, 1, 4, and 5. Okay? And with that, can I have all of the children and youth forward for a time for all ages? Come on down.
If you brought along your backpack, now's the time to bring it forward. Adults, if you brought a bag and you would like to have your bag blessed, be that purse, bag, tote, knitting sack, who knows, wallet, why not? Let's bless that too.
Henry, hi, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, kids, you can just sit right here in the front. That's fine.
You can also sit on the step right there if you'd like to do
Sit
that.
here. Oh, thank you, Zenaida.
And kids, you can bring your adult if you'd like. Adult, you can bring your kid.
There's somebody with a backpack. I see some backpacks coming up. All
That's
right.
Perfect. Music bag. Wonderful. Diaper bag. I didn't mention that one. That's an important one as well. Now is the time when we bless these bags and the backpacks. We're at the beginning of a school year. Some of us also going back to work. Maybe that's at home. We're going back, and that's fine too. Now we're blessing these bags, each of them unique, all of them welcome in this space, just as each of us is unique and gathered. Diversity is welcome here as well. We have some tags that Hannah has made for everyone, and we're going to bless those during these times too. So don't fret if you forgot your bag. You can still get a tag and put that on your bag. So let us fill up these bags and tags up with our blessings, our hopes, and our loving commitment today. We'll speak this into the room, these blessings, and invite you to add to them by saying blessings on these bags and backpacks. So let's say it all together. Blessings on these bags and backpacks.
Well said. Well said. May these bags and backpacks be sturdy and strong to last through the weeks and months of learning ahead, reminding us of our own strength, our own ability to carry what is heavy, whether that is grief or a textbook, May we remember as well that it is more than okay if someone helps us carry our bag or the things within that weigh us down. We are capable and we are here to help each other.
Blessings on these bags and backpacks. That's right. Each day we carry these bags, let us fill them up not just with the material things that we need to get through the day, knitting for our hands, or pens and papers to help us remember what we are learning, or snacks, even better, to nurture our bodies, but also less tangible things like our shared commitment to values of interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice, all centered around love. Blessings
on these bags and backpacks. Each time we open these bags and backpacks, may we remember to keep our minds and hearts open as well, to be willing to change as we encounter new information and new people and situations. May we remember that part of how we love the world and our neighbors is by learning and growing and changing. May we be open as our bags are open to doing things differently.
Blessings on these bags and backpacks. May the weight of these bags remind us that we carry with us into each day not just our own courage and creativity and compassion, but the love and support of this religious community of learners and seekers, that we are loved and that we can do hard things and that we are not alone. Blessings on these bags and backpacks.
Can I take a handful? And you distribute too, okay?
Ooh, they make such a delightful sound too, don't they? That's right.
And if you were shy or just didn't feel like coming up to the front, you're welcome to come out to the spiritual exploration table after service. We'll have those fobs available there. All right, let's move on to commissioning our teachers for the Children and Youth Spiritual Exploration Program. Could we please have, well, let's have the kids stay up at the front. Let's start with that. On this first day of Children and Youth Spiritual Exploration, we want to take a moment to dedicate and commission those among us who have chosen to take on the important responsibility for teaching and advising our children and youth. At this time, I invite all of those who are going to help lead CYSE to come forward. And will our children and youth please stand with them? So please rise, kids. Come on up, teachers and advisors.
As you teachers and advisors gather, let me say this. In taking on this responsibility, you have committed yourselves to nurturing the spirits of the youngest members of this congregation, sometimes at the sacrifice of your own participation in church. And we believe that teaching our young ones is its own kind of spiritual growth. So I ask you, do you promise now before the children of this congregation to do your best to honor them, to teach them and nurture their religious growth as Unitarian Universalists, as well as your own? And if so, please say, we do.
We do.
Do you, the children and young people of the CYSE program promise to open your minds and hearts to the lessons these teachers and advisors offer, to honor their dedication, and to participate regularly. If so, please say, "We do."
Do you, the congregation of Neighborhood Church, promise these teachers and young people your support, knowing that religion cannot be taught only in a classroom, but must also be encouraged in the larger church community, in the home and beyond? If so, answer, "We do." We do. Take up the challenge of this good work. May you have fun, grow, and learn together, and to be a continuing example of the importance of faith formation, both to us gathered here and to the world beyond. And may it be so.
Amen. At this time, let's sing our children, youth, teachers, and advisors out to their spiritual exploration classes and youth groups.
Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of our contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and the world. Each selected guest organization aligns with our community's mission and values and is nominated by church members who often are longtime volunteers and supporters of these change-making organizations. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen, or if you'd prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There's a donation box here in the front. There's one behind the back center row and one in the Narthex entryway on the table. Please help those who around you who might appreciate assistance in reaching the donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment toward your pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available at the donation boxes. This week, our gifts will support Reading is Fundamental. Here to tell us more is Jane Samanzadeh.
Good morning. I am a member of Neighborhood Church and a longtime volunteer with Reading is Fundamental. Founded in 1966, Reading is Fundamental is a leading voice for children's literacy. Reading is Fundamental is committed to a literate America by inspiring a passion for reading among all children, providing quality content to make an impact, and engaging communities in the solution to give every child the fundamentals for success. That's a formal definition of the mission statement of RIF. I'd like to tell you about my experiences as a volunteer and to give you a closer look at the Pasadena RIF chapter, because that's where Neighborhood Church's money will go. My parents were readers, my sisters and I were read to, and books were often asked for and received as Christmas gifts. So I did the same for my son. I read to him, gave him books, took him to the library. We RIF volunteers visit every second grade classroom in the Pasadena Unified School District 3 times a school year. So I've worked with kids from working class families, low-income families, and more affluent families. And I'm always surprised at how many of these kids are not read to, don't have books at home, and are so excited to learn, but that by the end of our visits, they will have had the opportunity to choose and keep 3 brand new books. When I took my son to the library, I was always drawn to the beautiful picture books. But what we always went home with were books about snakes, dinosaurs, animals, and sharks. The volunteers in our Pasadena chapter of Reading is Fundamental are largely former elementary school teachers, administrators, and librarians, so they know what kind of books the kids love. Therefore, the books that the children get to choose from are lovely picture books, books about snakes, dinosaurs, sharks, and animals, as well as joke books, books about getting along with each other, detective stories, adventure stories, biographies, and the like, all at different levels of reading ability and all at an age-appropriate level. I love seeing a child casually approaching the table where we have the books displayed, then seeing his eyes widen, seeing him reach for a book and grab it to his chest with both hands, and then run to the pencils so he can sign his name in his brand new book. I find especially moving the children who approach me with their book and ask me if I think it's a book that they could read to their younger brother or sister. This touches my heart, not only because the child is sweet enough to want to share her brand new book with a sibling, but also because it means that the younger children will be given the idea that reading is fun and something he'd also like to be doing when he's older. The Reading is Fundamental program was originally funded by the federal government, but that funding is no longer available. So we depend upon donates for buying approximately $14,000 worth of new books each year. Our RIF volunteers search out and apply for grants, as I have done here. We put on displays at Vroman's to encourage patrons to donate to RIF in their Give Back program, and other volunteers visit every elementary school in the PUSD to remind the PTAs to give to RIF. If there's anything you take from this presentation, it's that the money you give will be used exclusively to benefit the children who are being given books through RIF. You will be making a difference in children's lives, not only by encouraging them to develop and practice their reading skills, a tool that they'll need to be successful at school and at work, but also by giving them the opportunity to experience the joys of reading for pleasure. And that's a lifelong gift. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you to all of you for giving generously to this great organization.
I'm Dr. Zenaida Robles, Director of Music here at Neighborhood UU Church. I'm a middle-aged Black woman with a short afro and glasses, and I'm wearing gold jewelry and a tan tunic over a striped dress. I invite you to please welcome our neighborhood chorus. As we sing today's anthems, we ask you to please refrain from applauding after both anthems today. Thank you.
for our reading today, I've invited a member of this community to speak a bit on one of the symbols here in our sanctuary. Lindy, would you like to come forward?
Okay, I spy something white and red. Do you see it? Can you point to it? Have you noticed it before? Okay, you have to look. Over the past 4 years, I'm here to talk about it. So this tapestry was created by members of the Unitarian Church in Cebu. It was presented to a group of 10 neighborhood members who joined the UUPC pilgrims to visit Unitarian churches in 2004 in Transylvania, which means the land beyond the forest. The geographic area is located today within the borders of Romania, but it was part of the Austria-Hungarian Empire from 1867 to 1918. Immediately after World War I, dissolution of the former Austria-Hungarian monarchy transpired, and Transylvania became part of the Kingdom of Romania by the Treaty of Trianon in 1920. So I grew up a Transylvanian Saxon, as both my maternal and grandparents immigrated from German villages in 1906 and 1907 to Cleveland, Ohio. And they were active in the Alliance of Transylvanian Saxons in Sachsenheims, where they met. And by the way, Transylvanian Saxons embroider in black and white and not red, which is Hungarian. So in 1568, when John Sigismund was the king of Transylvania, he offered his people the right to religious choice. Hence, Unitarians were the first people in the world to proclaim religious tolerance and freedom of conscience as law. Kolesvar is the site where Francis David preached his first Unitarian sermon in 1568, where Francis David abandoned his worship of Christ, and then 100 miles away in the Citadel of Diva, where he was imprisoned in a royal dungeon, guilty of innovation, and eventually martyred. He died in 1579. So Kolesvar, the Hungarian name for Cluj in Romania, is also where the largest Unitarian high school is for villagers with dorms, and the Unitarian seminary. The fourth congregation, or International Convocation of Unitarian Women, just concluded their last Sunday in Kolesvar. And Julieta can tell you more about that, maybe. So from 1565 to Christmas in 1980, from 1965 to Christmas in 1989, when Nicholas Ceausescu was Romania's supreme leader, the Romanian people and the oppressed ethnic Hungarians and Germans suffered tremendously under this repressive and corrupt policies. My first tour to Transylvania was in 1981 when living in Spain, and this American traveled hidden in a Spanish group. Walking one night from the train station, I realized that only 1 in 5 lampposts had a light bulb. That's how oppressive they were. Use of cars was restricted by their license plate numbers. People were cold, hungry, and suffering, yet villagers, including Unitarians, had their gardens and animals. I defected the tour to find Romanian family connections thanks to seeing our University of Costa Rica t-shirt. Since the fall of dictator Ceausescu in 1989, our Hungarian co-religionists have worked to rebuild their communities and while adjusting to the opportunities and challenges of membership in the European Union and early stages of free market capitalism. So in 1993, Unitarian churches around the world bonded to form the Unitarian Universalist Partnership Council. I mentioned that earlier, UUPCC, to support the developing churches. My favorite story was between Oakland, California, where Elizabeth Erickson's sister's church, I'm not sure if she's here today, to Oakland, Romania, where US funding built a bakery and dairy project to provide funds for teens to attend high schools in town. So back to this embroidery, this red work. It's from the small Unitarian church in Cebu. It's a beautiful church designated UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2004 and named the European Capital of Culture in 2007. Romania's current president, Klaus Johannes, of German heritage, is from Sibiu, and my Nana's village is only 20 miles away. So at the time that Audrey and Robin's visit with our tour leader, which was our interim Reverend David Keyes, Sibiu was looking for a partnership church. Reverend Jim was not. In appreciation of their hospitality, neighborhood travelers raised funds later to purchase 40 hymnals in Hungarian for their congregation. That's where this came from. Thank you. In 2019, I traveled with UUPCC on another pilgrimage, and I brought back this beautiful hand-carved wooden plaque commemorating the 450th anniversary of the Unitarian Church. And it has on it the symbol of the serpent and the dove. I hope that someday it'll be hung next to the red embroidery tapestry. I've been waiting 5 years to have a minister to give it to. And by the way, it covers an electrical panel hole here. So on it are some, find me later to tell you more. On it, there's a quote here, and I'm not sure what it says. I'm sure Reverend Omega has an idea. I looked it up last night. It was 42 pages of story in Hungarian. I decided, I think it's faith is God's gift. But anyways, thank you. And there was an image of my visit there for the 450th anniversary. Thank you so much.
This is our covenant with each other, and therefore I must say that my ability to speak Hungarian has been greatly exaggerated by Lindy. Thank you for sharing that, Lindy. The Renberg Memorial Window, and we'll see an image of it here, the Renberg Memorial Window hangs on the west side of the Narthex of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Rockford, Illinois. A prominently displayed artistic rendering of some of the religious influences of Unitarian Universalism, the window has become a symbol widely recognized across the Unitarian Universalist Association internationally. The congregation of Rockford, both the staff and the congregants, have embraced the symbol as a representation of their church community, but also it goes beyond their Narthex. It was created in 1974 by a local artist named Frank Hokamp on a commission from the Renberg family, hence the name, the Renberg Window, and it was installed in the Rockford Church on January 19th, 1975. The Renberg Memorial Window is circular, measuring about 6 feet in diameter. It's quite large when you see it in person. It is comprised of stained glass, lead, and zinc, and it's encircled by a wood frame. Blue and dark red and yellow, those are the prominent colors, but the transparent glass is featured as a negative space. In a newspaper article interview about the window in 1975, Hokamp, the artist who created it, describes the process for finding the glass as being really important. The glass was sourced regionally, but came also from France, Belgium, and West Germany. He describes the importance of those lighter colors only appearing in the chalice in the center. The only ones with white in them, he said, to catch the light in a different way. You'll also notice that there is an unending circular pattern that weaves through that piece. It is made of cream-colored glass. Hokamp states if you follow the circles, they're all made out of one continuous line. He goes on to say that he did this to avoid extraneous lines in the design. The forms of the outline are 7 interwoven circles, 6 around the perimeter, and 1 in the middle. The 6 circles represent the world's major religions. Clockwise, they represent the Celtic cross of Christianity, the star and crescent of Islam, the sign of Om of Hinduism, the Star of David of Judaism, the yin and the yang of Taoism, and the 8-spoked wheel of Buddhism. The center circle around which the others are placed is the chalice and the flame of Unitarian Universalism. As stated in a pamphlet that the church has in their Narthex, the interlocking of these 6 circular representations of the 6 major religions of the world indicated that they all share the same quest for meaning. The central symbol of the flaming chalice represents Unitarian Universalism and the willingness to accept whatever insight each of the major traditions may offer, as well as the determination to explore all new claims to truth and understanding. The artist, Frank Hokamp, described his design as a mixture of mathematical and aesthetic and spiritual balance. It's described in an image in the Rockford Register Star, the local newspaper, as a free-hanging mosaic and a stained glass mobile. And many of you are familiar with this symbol. You've seen it in the Unitarian Universalist world. I wear it on my stole as well. This was a stole that was gifted to me when I was ordained for Unitarian Universalist ministry by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Rockford, Illinois. And my name is Omega. And when you have a biblical name, somebody's going to put it on a stole. The Reverend Anthony Perino, who was the minister when this window was installed, said, Unitarianism, through its origins, are in the Christian tradition, beginning with Ralph Waldo Emerson, but even before, as we heard with Lindy's description. Ralph Waldo Emerson, a Unitarian minister, he began to broaden its base and draw from all religious traditions as well as secular sources. So we incorporate what we feel are valid insights into these 6 religions and not identify completely with any of them. This was written in 1975. Truth comes from many sources. Each tradition has something significant to contribute, and none of them has the whole truth. That is the end of his quote. Now, I am highlighting this window for a few reasons. No doubt, some of you are familiar with it. Maybe it's new to you. I bring the window into our consideration today because it serves really as a metaphor for Unitarian Universalism and how it is a living tradition, one that changes and responds to the times, one that strives aspirationally for a future that is better, more inclusive, and how sometimes we get it a little bit wrong, and that's all right. The window here offers us a parallel to talk about some of the elements in our own space here and what it means to be a people of invitation and inclusion. Some of you are just joining us now this fall, and we are so thankful. And there are folks who have been in this community for decades. One of our recent changes is reorienting our space here. And in that reorienting of our space, certain symbols become more clear, more evident. The Renberg window here depicts a time in the not-too-distant UU past when we understood and described our faith, the Unitarian Universalist faith, as a faith buffet. Pick a little from here, take a little from there, and that is true, but what we have learned over time is that that can be appropriative, it's incomplete, and it doesn't get to the core of what being a Unitarian Universalist does, because it only describes Unitarian Universalism in counterpart to other religions of the world. Up until the 90s and the 2000s, it was frequent in our UU spaces to say, you can believe anything you want, and people did, often appropriating the rituals and symbolism of other faith traditions that form part of Unitarian Universalist identity. Now, in the past few decades, there has been work, theological work, group community work, and expansion of language as we work to understand our definition of Unitarian Universalism as important alone, without reference to other world religions. It is a commitment to define what we as UUs are and what we could be. Fewer are the references to other world religions and what we share with them, although certainly still here. But it is likely that this day and age, were we to commission a window depicting Unitarian Universalism, we would likely not include only 6 of the world's religions. We might include math, or atheism, or community building, or love, and those are a little harder to capture in a stained glass window. We center love through equity, justice, interdependence, generosity, pluralism, and transformation, and likely this will also change in a few years, as it should, being part of a living tradition. However, it can seem to newcomers and new-ish comers to our spaces that there does exist a secret code of language and symbolism that make our spaces and our gatherings feel exclusionary. It starts even at the doorway as we enter, and in some of the first words we say during our Sunday morning services, you've already heard it 3 or 4 times today. When you enter the church, you enter the narthex. What the heck is a narthex? You may be asking yourself. It's the entryway, it's the front hall, or as I learned, our counterparts in New England call it the mud room, because they have mud there. It's the place between the front door and the door of the sanctuary, and in the Christian churches of old, always faced west. We have a west-facing door. However, we are not only a Christian church. We are not a Christian church. There are Christians here, and we are celebrating that as part of our history and also part of our living tradition. Just as there are Jewish Unitarian Universalists and atheist Unitarian Universalists and pagan and Wiccan and every other representation, I'm sure, in this room. But the fact is, we use language adapted from hundreds of years of religious practice that no longer represent the exact theological meaning, but they've become shared language. Heck, even the word church is complicated. It's complicated. We use it as a shorthand to mean the place of our gathering, of our sanctuary, but there are plenty of Unitarian Universalists who do not feel connected to the word church. That is true. I prefer church because it's a shorthand, and I am not a Christian pastor. I am a pastor with the honorific of reverend. I am a minister of this congregation, but I am a religious naturalist. Church for me is in the trees. And yet, I still find the religious symbolism of our spaces to be beautiful and important. Whether it's the embroidery of our Transylvanian siblings, for whom Unitarianism is primarily a Christian religion, or perhaps it is what we have moved in from the Narthex, this beautiful stained glass that once formed part of the original church in downtown Pasadena, that has been sitting in our Narthex for a long time. We just decided to highlight it with some special lighting. So one of the elements that you'll see when you go into the Narthex, entryway, vestibule, hallway, is a painting of the original church, built in 1885, then known as the First Congregational Church. In that painting, you'll see the stained glass windows, the reproduction circular window, and the others that form part of our clear glass windows outside. You'll also see other elements around our space here from that original church that we have put back into this space to honor them. The church bell that stands at the door, the baptismal font that now enjoys a life in the trees, and the lightning rod finial that used to sit atop the steeple. And there are folks here, and I want to honor them, who have done a lot of work in the history of this church. I'd be glad to connect you with them if you'd like to know more. All of these elements make up the history of this church, a history that is rich and complicated, and it informs how we are in the world today. And yes, that might not be how we design it today if we were given the chance. But to dialogue with these symbols is to help ourselves in conversation, help ourselves make meaning of who we are in the world. The symbols are important because they are a mirror for us, for helping us clarify meaning that we aspire to. And also, it is true that these symbols, the words and images of our religious spaces, can feel exclusionary. But by being as clear as we can about them, we help ourselves understand ourselves, and we invite others to share the experience of their own interpretation and meaning making that is important and essential to spirituality, religion, and community building. It is often said that one of the most vulnerable acts that a person can do is to move into, to walk into, to roll into a new religious space for the first time. These are the spaces where we wrestle and play and tug at meaning making and community, where we honor and we celebrate and we ritualize the most beautiful and the most painful parts of our brief human lives. In a world that feels on moral outrage, we are here to cultivate moral courage, writes my colleague, the Reverend Gretchen Haley. So let us be a people of invitation. Let us be a people of inclusion, a people of drawing the circle wider, a people who celebrate the past, who honor the beauty that can be found in its symbols, but also a people who embrace a living tradition that changes and makes new meaning to aspire to a better tomorrow. May it be so.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn number 20, Be Thou My Vision.
We are all in this together, this experiment of living tradition made manifest through our actions, through our material world, and the symbols through which we mediate meaning. So may we move into this world today and always ready for dialogue, ready for invitation, and ready for transformation. Amen.